Sinigang. It's sour, it's so comforting, and apparently it's one of the best soups in the world according to Taste Atlas. So what makes it so special, and why do Filipinos have so many different ways of making it?
That's where the main masim kilig kind of thing comes out.
We're here to interrogate, investigate, and most importantly, tikim our way through the mysteries of Filipino food. This is Patikim. So what makes sinigang distinct? Well, the secret lies in our very Filipino way of adding sourness to everything, and depending on where you live, those ingredients can vary greatly. Sinigang is a verb, and versions will vary throughout the archipelago. We often associate sour with acid, sampalok, Batwan, Calamansi, etc., and most souring agents have citric acid. But I'm wondering if the level of acidity in our sinigang is what affects its sourness. What do you think, Professor Ara?
Thanks, Erwan. So the total titratable acidity is one of the basic and simple tests for us to determine the amount of acid. So when we say amount, that's the concentration of acid present in our sample. So when it comes to food, there are different types of acids present, and normally we report the total titratable acidity on the type of acid. So right now we will test 4 samples, 3 of which are fruits. We have the Calamansi, the Biasong, the Batwan, and then this will be compared to our instant sinigang mix. There are different types of acid in food. Each fruit will have a distinct type of acid. They may not be the same for all of the samples that we have tested. So that is one factor in terms of the total titratable acidity and in terms of the perceived sourness. So of course, the acids present in the food will greatly contribute to the sour taste of a particular dish. But it is not normally the amount of acid present in the food which dictates the sourness. It also is dictated by the type of acid present. So during titration, very simple lang naman yung setup. So meron lang tayong burette and then yung reagent, isang base lang, and then indicator for the color change, and then yun na yun. So very straightforward naman yung titration procedure. Ayan, nagpipink na siya. So, pag nakikita na natin yung pink, ibig sabihin, medyo malapit na tayo dun sa endpoint. So, malapit nang ma-neutralize nung base natin yung acid na nasa sample. Yung reporting nito is in terms of the type of the acid. So, for example, for Calamansi, the dominant acid here is citric acid. So, i-report natin siya in terms of citric acid. For sinigang, iba-iba rin, depende sa type ng souring agent. So, for tamarind, it's tartaric acid. For Calamansi, it's citric acid. For Batwan, also, I think it's citric acid. For Kamias, it's oxalic acid. Yes, so different. So, those different types of acid also have a different perceived sourness. So, it doesn't mean also that the amount of acid, the higher the amount of acid present in the sample, the higher also the perceived sourness. So it depends on the type of the acid. Among those acids sa food na related to sinigang, yung high level ng degree of perceivable sourness is the tartaric acid. So kaya tamarind yung common na souring agents for sinigang. Ayan. So, meron nang kita agad na pink color. So, pag mabilis pa mawala yung kulay, ibig sabihin malayo pa sa endpoint. Pag medyo matagal na mag-disappear yung pink color, ibig sabihin malapit na sa endpoint or yung total volume ng base na needed to neutralize the acid. Ayan. So, that's the endpoint, pink color. So, for the instant mix, yung volume na nagamit niya is around 22.5 ml. So, mas konti siya compared dun sa Calamansi kanina. So, yung Calamansi is, if I'm not mistaken, 55. So 55 yung volume nung base. So for instant mix, 21.5. So ibig sabihin mas mataas yung titrated acidity nung calamansi natin na sample. Ibig lang sabihin mas mataas yung volume or concentration nung acid present sa calamansi compared sa instant mix. But it does not necessarily mean na in terms of perceived sourness, mas maasim na si calamansi. So, when it comes to taste, we have no instrument that can really measure the degree or intensity of a particular taste. So, sabi nga, the best instrument pa rin when it comes to detecting taste is our human tongue. So, let's try ito, si Biasong na walang added na water. Ang tagal, hindi nagpipink. Very acidic. Ang taas ng, oo. So, pag mabilis siya matapos, konti lang yung acid. Pag matagal, or mas marami yung volume, mas mataas yung acid. So, medyo complex kasi yung flavor profile ng sinigang. So, parang balance siya ng sweetness, sourness, tsaka saltiness. So, ito, naka 50 na tayo, pero hindi pa rin siya nag-neutralize. So, we need more base. So, ito, diluted na to. Nag-add na ako ng water, pero ang taas pa rin ng volume needed to neutralize the acid. Ayan, faint pink. Ayan. So, 96.3 yung volume na nagamit for Biasong na diluted na. So, added water. So, very high din yung total titratable acidity present dito. Try natin yung batuan. 10 ml. Try natin na as is, walang water. So, batuan known to na souring agent sa Visayas area naman. Ay, konti lang. Pink agad. For batuan, small lang yung volume, around 3 ml, para ma-reach niya yung endpoint. More or less, calamansi and biasong magkalapit lang, yes. Kasi ito, dinilute natin ng water. So, yun yung results for this test. So, after conducting the total titratable acidity test, we found that the Batwan has lower total titratable acidity as compared to the calamansi and the biasong. As for the instant mix, it has a lower total titratable acidity also as compared to the biasong and the calamansi. So, Erwan, based on this test, we can conclude that we really cannot say that a dish will be sour, perceived as sour, if it has higher total titratable acidity. It still depends on the type of acid present on the dish and of course the other flavors in the dish. So what we can do is we can have a sensory evaluation of different sinigang dish made or prepared with different souring agents and let the people taste and let them decide whether or not the perceived sourness is acceptable or right for them.
We need to get to the bottom of this. So we gathered a group of unsuspecting individuals to put their taste buds to the test. Do they perceive asin in the same way?
Hey guys, my name is Seth and I'm from Manila.
Hi, I'm Ina and I'm from Bacolod.
Hi, I'm Trish and I'm from Manila.
I'm Martin, I'm from QC, Quezon City.
Hi, I'm Nika. I'm from Misamis Occidental in Mindanao.
Yo, what's that? Calamansi yata ito eh. Nagulat ako parang sausawan eh. Lasang sausawan kasi.
I like this one. It kind of tastes like sinigang mix.
Okay. Wow! Gumuguhit eh.
I'm scared. Ito ito yung pinakamahal. Sakit siya sa ngala-ngala.
Christ. Parang nagka-cramps yun dito. Wait lang.
Ay, the whole thing? Nagkakagar. It's not coming.
One eternity later.
Hilaw pa to. Disclaimer, I have the lowest acid tolerance ever.
I inhaled it! I was like, oh, Sour Patch Kids, and it just kept getting more sour and sour and sour and sour. My mouth is still watering.
Okay, I get it. Sinigang isn't just a soup, it's a cooking technique. It's a way of life, some may say. It really is a choose-your-own asim adventure. But why are we Filipinos so obsessed with its tangy kick and flavor? We're sitting down with Mickey Fenix. I'm sure she'll have the answers.
I'm Micaela Fenix. Sometimes I write under Mickey Fenix. I started writing about food in the 1980s. It was just a hobby of some sort. After that, people kept on writing me about their food because they wanted to showcase their food. It's always been supposed thing about Filipino food that we like sour. But it's not only us, apparently. It's also our Southeast Asian neighbors, ASEAN, and then around the world. Brian Ko wrote something about that in one book that we did, and he said sourness apparently releases serotonin, and it's something that makes us feel good. I would like to add to that sourness actually whets the appetite. And the Filipino, it's so crazy. You go to any carinderia, you eat there, always the Filipino diner will ask for sabaw. And usually the sabaw is sinigang. So I think that sort of establishes it as something that we need to have in our meals, something sour. Also because we have pickles, achara, we need something to balance, let's say, richness with sour so that you temper the richness of a food. So the sourness always has to be there somehow, you know, and of course our penchant for sausawan. And I think many Filipinos are like that also in a sense. Like me, I mean, when I look at the food and see what would enhance the food, what would make it taste better, we all have the same preference for sourness also in our ASEAN neighbors. I was so surprised one time, I was researching, and then I saw Malaysia had sinigang. And then they use Kamias. So I said to myself, doesn't that sound sinigang? It's very near us. But they also have other things apart from that. I mean, it depends on where in Malaysia you are. They have all this sort of sour food. And I said to myself, when we were doing the book Table for 10, which is shared ASEAN food, we thought, my gosh, we're practically the same. We just, even if we did call the food the same, sinigang, you know. What's nice about sinigang is you can put in anything and make it sinigang or make it sour soup. I remember when I was in Cebu, they would always chide me and say, because I am from Luzon, ang asim nung inyong sinigang. They would always say that. And then I would retort, yung inyo kulang sa asim. The difference is there, but it's the same in terms of sour soup. I think the MSG scare is just too much. You have toyo, which is MSG, and we use it all the time. And for me, the mere fact that food companies are doing convenience food helps in promoting our food in the world, you know. So at least people will get to know us through that, because if we teach them from scratch thing, it's not going to be appealing to them. First of all, where will they get the sampalok? Diba? Where will they get the kamias? It's convenience, yeah. It's our culture, our penchant for liking sour things.
The best thing about understanding a dish and getting to know it intimately, knowing its history, trying to understand its context, its media, is that it gives you the tools to kind of appropriate it subjectively in terms of what you think is the best version of the dish. Sinigang is something that we all grew up eating. We all have that shared memory of it. But as we've seen, flavor is very personal. So if you're someone that likes to cook at home, especially when it comes to Filipino food, especially one of these dishes that's more of a category, less of a dish, more of a technique and a cooking style, and less of a prescription, then it should give you the liberty to eventually make your own recipe, regionalistic. We can actually get different ingredients from different parts of the Philippines and come up with something different. And I feel the combination of Batwan and sampalok is absolutely beautiful when it comes to this soup. Right, Jed? Awesome. Let's get cooking. So that goes into our pot here, and right away with our tomatoes and my onion. So these will just be quartered. All that goes into our pot. Give some water, Jed. Thank you, sir. Add your water inside with some fish sauce, just a little bit for now. Just a preference, slices of ginger. And we're gonna wait for that first boil to come up and then skim off some of that protein. So you've got a nice clear-ish broth. Obviously this is not supposed to be a clear soup. If you wanted to be really kind of particular about it, you could clean it up with like a egg white raft or something. I'm gonna add some crushed tomatoes here. There's nothing else in here. It's just gonna give it a nice color. And I'm gonna add the tamarind and the Batwan in here. And I think if you're a restaurant, this is maybe controversial, but personal opinion, if you're a restaurant, like a proper sit-down restaurant making sinigang, I really don't think you should be using sinigang packs. Because you go to restaurants, you know, for food to be prepared with love, and it should be a labor of love. And if you're using a pack in a restaurant, unless it's a fast food place, I really don't think it has its place there. But I'm not a hater. I don't not like it. I just think there's a time and place for it. So you'll see the Batwan and the tamarind have kind of doubled in size. And this still has a lot of flavor. So when you kind of press this down and you get kind of that milky pulp, that's where the main maasim kilig kind of thing comes out. So this is just a more modern way of doing it. So basically, you could kind of mash it, but I do feel like there's way more flavor trapped in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it because it is soft enough. So I'm gonna transfer all of this into my blender. Okay, let me blend this. You can see the color of our broth now is crazy milky, which is how I like it. And there's no gabe or anything in there, right? So we got that milkiness just from the tamarind and the Batwan, and that's why I like blending it. We go in with our radish and with our eggplant, our kangkong stems, and then right before serving, we're gonna add in our kangkong leaves. And at this point is when you can kind of season a little bit, and then we're gonna add more seasoning later as needed. Try this out. When I have friends who come to the Philippines for the first time, you know, I always get asked, you know, where should we go? What should we try and everything? Filipino food is so diverse, right? And a lot of what we do here in FEATR talks about how diverse it is and how many different types of cuisines and cultures have kind of imbued the local flavors. But things that are sour and acidic are so distinctive Filipino. If you were to ask me what is one flavor profile that makes Filipino food different from the rest, I would say it is our love for and our penchant for things that are sour. And you can see that through dishes like sinigang, but you can also see it through our sawsawans. Our sawsawans always have something acidic, citric acid, or has some sort of sourness to it as well to balance our love for richness and our love for kind of fattiness. Dinuguan, the sourness is also key to make that dish like more palatable. So Jed brought all his friends.
Wow, bako.
Okay, who wants to try it?
Lahat kami syempre.
Go.
Did you, saute the...
No, boiled it.
I will.
Do you saute your stuff or you use sinigang? I don't. Grabe. Parang nga siyang may gabi.
So what do you guys think? Yes, I use tamarind and Batwan.
Malambot pa.
So sometimes it's really hard to get the sourness we now associate with it, but I think this is pretty close. Like obviously a sinigang pack would be way more sour than this. So final thoughts? What do you guys think?
I like it.
I mean, Trish, you know when people taste from food, usually you don't double dip.
Kaya pala lalong umasim.
Sabi ng lola ko, mapapanis yan.
So I hope you guys have learned something in this first episode of Patikim. The idea is to kind of explore Filipino food through a different lens, sprinkling a little bit of science, sprinkling a little bit of bro science, and sprinkling all our subjective biases as well. This was Sinigang. Who knows what we're going to tackle next?
Sarap. Actually, mas gusto ko yung may sinigang na may gabi. Pero yung creaminess niya, para siyang may gabi na rin. So, it's a yes.
The Jed approved.
The Jed approved!
Pero, mas gusto niya raw yung may gabi. Sabi niya. Pero masarap pa rin siya.
Okay.
Very delicious.
So is it Sinigang?
Yes!
Say yes, it's Sinigang.
Yes, it's sinigang!
Yay!
This is sinigang. Ano kaya yung gagawin namin sa susunod?
Subscribe, maka-feature!